Spyder's back to give you an announcement here in Halifax on Thursday that no one really knows about, that I found about a week ago, and I could have told you then, but I held off, but I'll get to that in a second. A word from our sponsor.
Loud in the red zone. Want to hear you chanting loud. We want Spyder's CFL's red zone. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL's red zone. Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL's red zone. In the red zone.
Spyder's back! I said that this last session, it was going to be my last session to the spring, but I had to come back because of this announcement in Halifax on Thursday that no one knows about, that I knew about after New Year's, and good sources too. I can't tell you the sources. I could announce it then and come back on. As you see, this is not my regular set. I just made up the set and like in a panic, really, just to do this, because I got wind of this and saw something posted, and then, oh my God, I said I should have done this a week ago, but I'm glad in the way I didn't. But I'll give you the sources back in the spring, how I knew this, and I could have had it. I could have done a YouTube session on it, had it out there, but I show some respect for the CFL. But I'm ahead of the game. This is a live take, so you'll hear it first here. I'm going to put this up. You may hear it time I get up on YouTube, but anyway, I want to get right into the session. I want to go back, before I give you this big announcement in Halifax, CFL announcement, I want to go back to my YouTube session, my last one, when I was talking about the Canadian ratio. It's Nick Lewis was on Rod Peterson's Facebook page show when he was talking about the Canadian ratio needs to be changed. You kind of believe about CBA too. That's another reason I'm back on. I'm going to go over that. You're not going to believe it's been finalized. You're not going to believe what you're going to hear. Anyway, getting back to Nick Lewis, hosting the Rod Peterson show a few weeks ago or so, he talked about the Canadian ratio, said it needs to be changed, okay? The starting ratio. And I think he was referring to the roster ratio as well, but the starting ratio he was referring to in this particular case when he was talking about I said that he said most of the top offensive Canadian players go to the NFL. What he was referring to the top offensive linemen go Canadian, top offensive linemen go to the NFL, okay? And all the best ones are down there. And he says there's a few right now in the CFL that are good enough to start, but it's all watered down because there's way too many that aren't. And like he says, the top ones every year in the draft, they go to the NFL and counting. And now you see all the, I think it's 12 or almost 15 American players now signed because of the one-year contracts in the NFL window now already gone to the NFL. It's unbelievable. We'll get into that as well. But Nick Lewis is right. Just like Ed Herby says, he needs what Nick Lewis said. The CFL needs to invest in, protect their investment. He's talking about the star quarterbacks need to be protected by the best available O-linemen. Okay, and you can't do that, and you're forced to start a guaranteed Canadian ratio lineman. There's no business being on a CFL field. That's only there because of the Canadian starter ratio, the guaranteed Canadian starter ratio, and that's where they slot them in to fill the Canadian starter ratio. That's 7, by the way, now going to 10 with the new CBA. You're not going to believe it. So anyway, Nick Lewis is right. So before I get into that, the CBA too, one other thing I said in my last session was some people found Rod Peterson too pompous, talking about the Rod Peterson show, and they didn't like him, I guess, because of what happened, or like him. You know, I think they liked him, but he wasn't. He was pretty popular, but he lost his popularity when that whole incident went down. He lost his job at Sportsgate, and a lot of people were, you know, I mean, Darren, the guy that's running the Rod Peterson, I guess owns it, Peterson Facebook show, gave him a second chance, and I think he, you know, I don't think he got a fair shake there. He said something he shouldn't have said, but I don't want to really get into that. That's personal and so forth. I don't want to I don't want to run him into the ground or anything, try to bury him like that. It's unfair. I think he does. I think he does a good job. I've certainly never knocked him. Just certain things I heard being said about him at the Grey Cup, and people from Regina too, Saskatchewan Roughriders fans and so forth. I'm a Jamie 9 Green Zone fan first and foremost, but I always listen to Rod Peterson on the Sports Cage, and he did a pretty fantastic job as for many years for the Saskatchewan Roughrider radio announcer of the games on their local Regina station, where he did the Sports Cage as well. I mean, he's doing a really good thing with his Facebook show, like covering the CFL. He's covering, the Pats, major junior hockey, the NHL. He really promotes the CFL. He's really doing a great job. Give him credit, okay? And let's talk CFL too. I mean, I don't knock you people. Why you take shots at me? And Rob Peterson, you shouldn't knock me either. I don't know if you have, but if I don't think you should. I don't think anybody should take shots at anybody in the TSN sports media, CFL guys, or in the CFL podcast guys, or any CFL radio guys, or like Jamie 9 or Rob Peterson, anybody trying to do something to promote the CFL. I mean, I tell it the way it is on here with the Canadian ratio and everything. That's one thing about here. I call a spade a spade. That's one big thing. So I just wanted to cover that, and now I just want to get into the big announcement, okay? I just wanted to go over that quickly. Now we're into the big announcement. You're not going to believe it. See if you can see this. Okay, I'm going to put this up. Can you see that? Can you see that big announcement? I'll read the big announcement to you because it's probably getting reflection again. There, you can see it there. I don't know if you can. I'm going to read it anyway. Here we go. CFL, a big event is coming to Halifax. The Canadian Football League, and there's their logo and everything. Okay? Invites you to a special announcement, January 23rd, that's Thursday, 2020. Announcement begins at 11 a.m. Rogers Square in Halifax. And we all know what it's going to be. I mean, I could have told you this a week ago or so. It's going to be the Touchdown Atlantic. Okay? 2020, the Argonauts and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Okay? In Halifax. SMU, I guess. I know, but I can't tell you. I'll tell you how I know all this when I could have told you a week ago, but out of respect for the CFL and Halifax, okay, the capital city, I wanted to keep it hush-hush, okay? The CFL hasn't even officially announced this yet. They may, time I get it up on YouTube, I get off my set here, because I do all live sets. But that's a hat from Touchdown Atlantic, okay, way back when the Argonauts and the Ticats played at SMU, St. Mary's, okay? Now, the thing is, here's the big question, okay? How are they going to make up a mixed-up stadium here? And what's interesting about all this, I want to go over a few things, okay, before I get into Touchdown Atlantic 2020 in Halifax. A couple councillors were on that voted to go to the next step with the LeBlanc group for the, see if we get a CFL Atlantic Schooner 10th franchise for Halifax and a stadium built in Halifax. They were really negative. And they voted, of the 10 with the mirror, to go to the next stage, next phase of this, saying that, I think the LeBlanc group haven't heard anything of getting cold feet, that they're going to take a hike, they're going to get out of town. And they even suggested, or Rick Howe suggested, or I think one of the councillors suggested too, that there may be another group interested. Now this is quite interesting because Gary Drummond's been reported on actually Rod Peterson's show just recently again, saying that he's interested in buying the BC Lions that's up for sale. So I mean, maybe not cutting it with the Premier. The Premier just plays hardball. He's not. I mean, you can't blame him. The city of Halifax have been behind this. $20 million a drop in the bucket. And Brady McNeil, what's he going to do? He wants to build an $80 million art gallery of our taxpayers' money in the library. He's not coming. He's not really coming to the table here. Nothing's being. This is taking forever. It's 2.5 years now. So you can't blame them if they cut out of town, but it was mentioned in the Rick Howe show yesterday by one of the councillors there may be another group interested. Now, could that be the Rogers group, that own the Argonauts that would be interested in building a CFL model stadium or putting money into it with the province and the city to build a real CFL model stadium that can host a Grey Cup game in the next, maybe in 5 years. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know, but we're going to find out if the LeBlanc group's there tomorrow. If they're not there tomorrow, there's something up with this. There's some truth behind what the councils are, some of the, I don't know, insinuating here. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we're going to find out. But getting back to this announcement, how are they going to make a makeshift stadium? But maybe part of it is that whoever group ends up getting a 10th CFL franchise in Halifax and a stadium built will be looking to probably do the first 2 years while the stadium's being built in playing the games in Halifax rather than Moncton. Wouldn't that make more sense as far as a season ticket drive and so forth? And yes, maybe this is all part of it, that SMU wants to do something with that. They want to do it. They want to have those games here at SMU for 2 years, right? While the stadium's being built. So they make a makeshift stadium. Maybe that's what's going to happen, because right now the SMU stadium was, demolished. Okay, the old stadium. I mean, it was in bad shape. It had to be demolished. Anyway, but there's only less than 3,000 seats there, so they'd have to put in about 15,000 temporary seats. So they need that or more for to have a 2-year CFL franchise play in 2 years while a stadium is being built in Halifax, the Atlantic Schooners. They'd need that. But how are they going to set up? Because, there's the hill there. I don't know how they would do it. They have to put the stands on the track. They wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know how they would do this. Take that fence down, move it back towards the cafeteria. I don't know. But on the other side, they can put some bleachers there, but there's the St. Mary's buildings are there, and their gym is there, and their offices are there, they can't do anything there, and their dressing rooms are there, and so forth. It's all concrete. It's all buildings on that side. So I don't know. There's the end zones, but you can't put most of your seats in the end zones. Come on. So I don't know how they're going to do this temporary thing, because they're going to need everything temporary, washrooms, everything. You have to build temporary press boxes. Come on. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, see what's going to take place here, okay? I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to go down. I'll be wearing my Spyder CFL Red Zone Wool hat. You'll see me down there. I'll have brochures to give out and so forth. Okay, so really excited about this, but it's going to materialize. It's not going to happen in Moncton. So there's something probably behind this. So what's happening with the LeBlanc group? We'll find out on Thursday. Are they still in or are they out? The Rogers group come in to play now with a 10th CFL franchise for Halifax and a stadium to be built in Halifax. We're going to find out. But there's something up. I like other people don't trust the LeBlanc group or the Drummond group, because he's the main guy behind it, because especially with this BC Lion thing being up for sale and they're interested. So there's something going on here, and the way, I got to say, they were treated, but they didn't handle this very well, very professional either. So we'll see what is going to transpire here. There's something doesn't make sense here. Something, we're going to find out more on Thursday, either way. So anyway, I want to talk a little bit about what I have to announce about my CFL Red Zone Wool and the revisit, okay, accentuate pitch presentation I did in my CFL Red Zone Wool for the commissioner, and I sent it off to him. He's already received it. I sent a copy of my brochure too, and a new photo I've done on my new banner, with my new CFL Red Zone Wool hat banner, with my Spyder CFL Red Zone Wool or my CFL Red Zone Wool field diagram in one photo in a PDF. I'm going to put those photos up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put revamp my brochure as well, and put my Spyder CFL Red Zone Wool in a nutshell up here, okay, and probably have a prototype, because I'm going to have new brochures made up, and I probably won't have them until about another month. So, but anyway, my Spyder CFL Red Zone Wool revisit the pitch presentation I made on my revisit of my CFL Red Zone Wool, accentuate pitch presentation that I did my CFL Red Zone Rule for the commissioner is now up my CFL Red Zone Rule Facebook page. Okay, you'll find, and it's half of what my formal presentation was that in 2018 I made to the commissioner on my CFL Red Zone Rule, which is down below it. So, and my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule in a nutshell is featured at the top at my revisit presentation I did for the commissioner, and I did my Spyder CFL Red Zone Rule in a nutshell for him first. Okay, so and that was I did for my revisit presentation for him first, I should say, because I did do a YouTube session on that. Okay, but I'm going to put it on the back of my new brochure. You're going to see it's condensed. It's really amazing. You'll find it in my revisit presentation that I did for the commissioner of the CFL that he has in his hands as we speak, and it's up my Spyder CFL Red Zone Facebook page. So, okay, check it out, man. That's big time. You know, they have that up already. Okay, because the CFL has a new. Okay, the reason I did this, they have the new CFL Innovation Rules Committee 2020. So that's why I did it for the commissioner. And I told you I got an email back from him around Christmas time. It was nice to see. So I jumped on board this when he announced this at the Grey Cup, won some Grey Cup in Calgary about this new CFL Innovation Rules Committee. So. And then when I got an email back from the commissioner, I know he had time to reflect and go back since I did my presentation, my formal presentation, my CFL Red Zone Rule in 2018, reflect and go back and really have a chance to really see the value of it, the entertainment value, and not only from the entertainment side of our CFL 3-down game, but from the business side as well, and what it can do for our CFL 3-down game. And my super features and benefits as well, 10 super features and benefits are on my Facebook page as well. You want to check those out as well, okay? They're powerful, they're compelling, and all the justifiable advantages of why my CFL Red Zone Rule should be made part of our CFL 3-down game. So, we'll see what they do with it in 2020. So, if I have anything new, but they may announce it themselves, you know, but I will definitely be back on if there's any really news to be made on that front, that I'll be back on before the spring, okay? So let's get into the CBA right now, talks, okay? So let's talk about the CBA. You're not going to believe how bad it is. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. So originally, remember when they were talking about it, the CBA, before it was finalized, before, you know, the CFL season, that they were going to 2019 season, that they were going to have reduce it from the Canadian starter ratio, because I've explained earlier, from 7 to 5. Guess what? You're not going to believe what happened. And this was all caused by the Canadian Players and Canadian Players Association, because the CFL and the owners and the TSN, basically, they want to take anything, because they're desperate. They don't have the NHL. They need CFL football. They can't. They don't want to see the owners lock them out. The Canadian Players and Canadian Players Association. They don't want to see them go on strike. So this is why this is happening. I really believe the Canadian players have really pushed for this. Okay, there's now. It didn't go from 7 to 5, as we all know, but now since the CBA agreement's been finalized, it's gone to 10 nationals. You're not going to believe it, from 7. And there's a catch to this, which is brutal, actually, too, which is only designed by the Canadian Players and Canadian Players Association, because if those American, so-called, that can become 3 Canadian nationals to make up that 10, if they're in the CFL with one team 3 years or 4 years in the league combined, they can become one of those 3 nationals. But guess what? If the teams don't have them, and with the 1-year contracts in the NFL window now, okay, how are you gonna get those players? And now what's happening is 10 nationals, be less and less American, even harder to get American players coming to the CFL. Okay? And if you don't have those American, Canadian nationals, so-called, those 3, and backups too, imagine, 9 teams would have to, imagine if it was a 10th team, how bad it was. Guess what? The Canadian players get to play 10 Canadian players. 10 Canadian starters, guaranteed Canadian starters now. Can you believe that? And to make it even worse in the global now, the global CFL 2.0 with the global players, there's 2 now guaranteed ratio for the active roster and 3 on the practice roster. Can you imagine that? Guaranteed. That's 5 per team. Now, if a global player starts, they take away an American starting position, not a Canadian. Can you imagine that? It's not a wild card. It's unbelievable what's happening. It's unbelievable. It's hard to believe. And now with the NFL window and the one-year contracts, there's already almost, like I said, almost 15 top American players already signed. The top Canadian players are going down, signing. Even the kickers down there are probably going to be signed. There's 2 down there trying to be signed. Canadian kickers. They should make them part of the Canadian starter ratio, okay? I mean, they have the Canadian starter quarterback if he becomes part of the 7 if he starts, only if he starts. You know, it's unbelievable. And only 2 quarterbacks now are allowed because, imagine, to start. 2 quarterbacks, okay? They can't have a third, okay? So if 2 go down, there's no quarterback if they need him in a CFL game. Imagine. They have to bring in what? A kicker to be quarterback? This is unbelievable. So anyway, this is really, really bad what's happening in the CFL. It's gotten worse. Can you imagine with 10 teams? Are they going to go to 12? You know? Canadian nationals? And it's all designed. It's all for the Canadian Players Association designed this to benefit them. You've got to remember that American, Canadian national, how are they going to get 3 and then have 3 to back up or more? So they can slot them anytime. Oh, by the way, too, in injuries, if with the 10 Canadian nationals now, they can be replaced by either American or Canadian. I forgot to add that. But getting back to the 10, it's all favors of Canadian players because if those Canadian nationals don't exist, there's 10 Canadians that start. Okay? And how are 9 or 10 teams ever going to have 3 American Canadian nationals on their team and backups to back those 3 positions? How are they going to do that with the NFL window and the one-year contracts now? And by the way, on the NFL window, there's a grievance now that the Canadian Players Association, made up by carefully selected Canadian linemen, by the way, as we know, Keeping and Ramsey. Okay. The NFL are holding it up, the American window, but the CFL teams have to release them because the NFL are saying that, okay, because the CFL, apparently the owners wanted the rights of a CFL player goes down. If he doesn't make a CFL active roster, then he'd come back to the CFL, that he couldn't just make a practice roster. Of course, the Canadian Players and Canadian Players Association, because they're as bad as Americans, they don't want that. And the NFL don't want that. They want to put them in their practice roster. And the Canadian players and the American CFL players and the Canadian CFL players, they want to be put on a practice roster in the NFL because of all the money they can make. So that's gonna change. That's not going to stand up, and the owners are going to get screwed again. They're going to get screwed and screwed and screwed again. But that's the situation. That's how bad it is. The new CBA that's finalized, and I mean, I could go over even other parts of it that's really bad too. But I just wanted to go over the 10 Canadian national and the global thing, and the NFL window, how that's going to benefit them too. Like, I mean, it is now one-year contracts. It's unbelievable what's happening in the CFL. And I went over last time about 4 major changes that are going to be made. Well, it's going the other way. And seriously, I don't know how they're going to be able to sell our game and how you're going to sell jerseys. You can't even sell a quarterback jersey because no contract, by the way, is like, if a CFL quarterback signs a 3 or 4 year deal like Bo Levi Mitchell or Mike Riley, means nothing. They can go every year to the NFL just like every player can. Every rookie player, every Canadian, every American player, 1-year contract. Every year, doesn't matter how many, what they sign, the contract means nothing. They can go every year to the NFL with the NFL window. So it's unbelievable. And sign in the NFL. So anyway, okay, don't forget the big announcement on Thursday down at the Rogers Square in Halifax for the Touchdown Atlantic 2020, the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Toronto Argonauts at I believe it's going to be SMU, but it could be the Wanderers grounds, but probably SMU. Like, I can't tell you why. I may know that, but anyway. And also, check out my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll Facebook page and my YouTube channels, okay? Check them all out. I'm up to, I think this is my 42nd now, okay, or 43rd, okay? I'm losing count. I'm soon to be up to 50 when I get back in the spring, and I'll be back in the spring unless something else comes up. But don't forget to check out my other big news, okay, that I announced today is my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll, okay, revisit, accentuate pitch presentation of my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll, okay, to be revisited for 2020 because of the new CFL Innovation Rules Committee 2020, okay, that I sent to the commissioner, okay, that's up on my Facebook page, Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll Facebook page, okay, that's up there now, okay, you can find, and it's about a 12-minute read, it's, and my Spyders, my real, the one I did for the commissioner, Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll, in a nutshell, starts it off. It's a must read. You gotta get on there and read it. My full presentation's there too, and much more. Okay, and you'll find Steve Armage and myself with my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll. Imagine Steve Armage approved my approved my CFL Red Zone Roll. It's done 27 Grey Cups. You'll find my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll long version of my song that I did. And more, my CFL Red Zone Roll field diagram and more, okay? Check it out, okay? So, I guess, I hope I see you down at the Rogers Square, okay? I'll be, on Thursday, I'll be wearing my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll hat, and hopefully they'll show the new logo for Touchdown Atlantic 2020, the Riders and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. The Saskatchewan Rough Riders and Toronto Argonauts. I'm getting ahead of myself. And so, don't forget, again, to check out my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll Facebook page and find my Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll revisit pitch presentation made to the commission of the CFL, okay? It's up there now, okay, for 2020. We'll see what the outcome of that will be. Hope it's good news, okay? And we'll see Spyder CFL Red Zone Roll being used at an exhibition game this year in 2020. And if not,